I'm a big Scriabin fan, and for me his early sonatas are some of the most inspiring piano music ever written. I mean, he can always write beautiful melodies, interesting harmonies and effective textures, but compared to his other piano works that are all quite short pieces, in the sonatas he keeps an ambition of developing the material into a larger narrative whole, and they turn out just epic. It's a bit like Chopin and his ballads. Higher ambition than all the other character pieces and dance forms he wrote, and the greatest in this special way of setting a cast of characters together in a musical drama and letting it unfold. Now back to Scriabin. After his fifth sonata, he turns away from tonality more, so those works are a bit different. But until then, I think he has the best of both worlds, like the tonal musical language of Romanticism, like Chopin or Liszt or Rachmaninoff, but also an ambition of always searching for something beyond that with the use of chromaticism. It's already starting in Sonata 1 and 2, and then exploring it more in this number 3, and then it's quite a lot chromaticism in number 4 and 5. Now, this sonata consists of 4 movements in a quite traditional setup. A first movement in sonata form, then a short scherzo, then a proper beautiful slow movement, which goes then attacca into a fast finale.
Context of composition.
So this sonata is composed in 1897 to 98. And Scriabin finished his studies at the Moscow Conservatory in 1891. Then he had these 6 or 7 years of pretty much being a freelance musician and composer. He wrote a big bulk of music, a lot of short piano pieces, and then this work comes at the end of this period, at the same time as he got a position at the Academy in 1897 as well. Now, there are 2 interesting associations from Scriabin to this sonata. At first, he called it his Gothic sonata, with this refined but haunting architecture. But then, several years later, he came up with and devised a program for it called the States of the Soul. And he wrote these elaborate descriptions about each movement, and I'll say them before I show the music on each movement.
Movement 1, Drammatico.
So Scriabin's description here is the soul, free and wild, thrown into the whirlpool of suffering and strife. And it sounds like this. So we have these powerful statements, the signature Scriabin upbeat in the left hand with these octaves, like a fourth or a fifth sometimes. And well, this is for the whole movement. It's going to get expanded already in the third bar, and a seventh, and then it's answered by short statement-like phrases in the melody. It's a little bit more legato and a lovely juxtaposition, so this sets up the whole drama. Very powerful stuff. If we jump to the second subject, it's a lovely lyrical theme, but also very dense with counterpoint, so like this. There's a lot of suspensions and delayed resolutions. So it's all individual voices braided together, like you see fragments of the same kind of melodic motifs. Especially this part, like here. And then in the middle here. So it's very hard to, like, it's not just one melody going somewhere, it's everything happening at one time, but still the top should be a little bit more important, of course. And this kind of grows into a new idea here that's both playful and elegant, and somehow Scriabin can consolidate those 2 characters like no one else. so on. You see all the time these counterpoint of motifs coming in the left hand and taking over and having a dialogue. And also the character from the first theme comes together a bit more, like those big upbeats. Anyway, we get like a closing theme, winding down for the exposition part, and then the development takes all these motifs and present them in slightly new ways. And I'll just play a little bit in the beginning of the development so you get the idea. It starts piano, but the inherent tension inevitably grows into these heavy statements that rises and falls back down again. It goes on for a while, but inevitably it it summons the recapitulation again. I'll just play the transition here, the last part of the development, which you feel the tension builds more and more. Directly to the second subject. Which is now in F sharp major, the tonic major instead of the relative major. And then we get pretty much a full recap from here on, not the whole big statement of the first theme, but the rest of them, and an extra, like a small development section in the coda. Like you get a lovely new thing coming here after the big. Searching for something. But the statement comes back. Inching its way upward, half note at a time. To probably the most tense moment in the movement. Then resolving. So dominant 7, flat 9, and 6. Resolving to a dominant. And we get this lovely closing group, which is in major both times. Ending quite peacefully.
Movement 2, Allegretto.
So this is a quite short movement with scherzo feeling, and this is what Scriabin writes. Apparent momentary and illusory respite. Tired from suffering, the soul wants to forget, wants to sing and flourish in spite of everything. But the light rhythm, the fragrant harmonies are just a cover through which gleams the restless and languishing soul. Sounds like this. So for me, this is slightly more heavier than just a brief respite from reality. It's quite heavy march, I feel it, although it's also piano. It's lovely juxtaposition with the major and the minor third. So E flat major, but then the G is the major third, then G flat is the minor third, and we get to the C sharp major 7. It's like it's asking a kind question to tonality. What's it gonna be? So here pointing to that direction, but then straight back. And now changing one more note to the E double flat. So we get C flat minor major 7. Really crunchy harmonies. Anyway, this goes on for a while, but it's short, so not too long. Then we have a middle section with really like a different feeling, and once again Scriabin combines the playfulness and elegance in a beautiful way. Just exquisite. Then ultimately the march section comes back and finishes the movement.
Movement 3, Andante.
A sea of feelings, tender and sorrowful. Love, sorrow, vague desires, inexplicable thoughts, illusions of a delicate dream. Beautiful song without words, repeating chords in the accompaniment and a melody on top. Just beautiful. Like just this first chord, kind of F sharp sus4, resolving, going to a minor. And here G sharp minor 9. C sharp minor 7. And this ending of the phrase, going to F sharp major, which is the dominant, is a half cadence, just a simple half cadence. And setting up the tension or the resolution for the start of the next phrase. You would think B major, but to the sus again, delaying it, back to minor. Now sequence, C sharp major, so modulating somewhere, and now amazing augmented 6 chord. Way back to B major. And we're back to the beginning and a repeat of the melody. Now, crucial difference. Just one difference in the rhythm, we get triplets earlier. It's so groovy, this lovely slow movement. Then there's a middle section with a lot of chromatic inner voices piling up, creating a really spooky character. especially here. With that super low bass. Like, this is the Gothic element, I think, this haunting character. However, the main melody finds an opening to break through back, combined with the continuing 16th notes as ornamentive. Really beautiful. So I play the transition. Here we get a major chord, that's kind of a clue. Still a lot of chromaticism. There it is. And so on. Towards the end, we get two really structurally important moments. The first is an echo of the first theme from the first movement. We wind down with some lovely Scriabin sprinkles as triplet 16th notes here. This is the theme from the first movement, but it's just like a vague memory, an echo. And different harmony. And after these 4 bars, we get the other structural moment, and this is just the transition to the last movement. It's 4 bars where he sets up the rhythm for the next movement and leans into the tempo with a gradual extrarando to it.
Movement 4, Presto con fuoco.
From the depth of being rises the fearsome voice of creative man, whose victorious song resounds triumphantly. But too weak yet to reach the acme, he plunges, temporarily defeated, into the abyss of non-being. So here with the transition. So I think you really feel this depth of being, like a whirlpool or a black hole just sucking in everything in its way. Right hand plays this short motif, this chromatic just going around and with the dotted rhythm as well. And that motif is basically governing the whole movement, is present a lot of the time. And the left hand is incredibly hard to play these quick arpeggios down and back up. Super fast in the low register, that's what gets the dark whirling. Yeah, but very effective. It's in rondo sonata form, so the theme comes back with some developmental episodes in between. And all the time, a lot of these quick ramps of increasing tension that burst and fall back down again. We have similar gestures in the first movement, but they move much quicker here. The energy basically never stops. We only get a temporary break in the lyrical second subject, which is a complete contrast for some time, and some bars could be taken from a jazz piano lounge. So it feels that modern, still like 120 years ago. So such a gospel moment. a little bit more Chopin again. Now a jazz lounge. And here the whirling finds the way back and we get to do the accelerando again because we've dropped down a bit. That's the theme. So we get like a longer developmental section after this. Let's just play the first of it, because here he really goes to town with the chromaticism. And so on. It's just incredibly lot of things happening here. Eventually we get the theme stated kind of in isolation. First he flips it, so instead of we get the inverted, really fun thing. And back again. And then we get this crazy fugato section which just keeps on adding, doesn't follow up the voices, but adding the new register one at a time. Starting over. Now increasing the pace. Until we get the breakthrough movement. Dies down to start over again. Yeah. Then the whirling kind of comes back for the recapitulation with the second subject. Then there's a coda with a final structural surprise. So it falls down to pianissimo, the main motive still incessantly repeating, but somehow we manage to break free from it. And it's the melody from the slow third movement that breaks through in forte. So just the end of this. Actually combining, so the slow movement now we do it slightly faster, but the melody, that's the melody. Here it's and now this motive comes back in the left hand. Again. And just affirming F sharp major. And winding down. But you already know from the synopsis that Scriabin provides that this voice of creative man that resounds triumphantly that we just heard, it's gonna ultimately fail and fall down into the abyss. So here we flip from F sharp major to F sharp minor. F sharp major, minor, and pianissimo, and we get this lurking. Here I like to add two more bars of the same thing. until we get these final chords with breaks. Pretty weird ending actually. It takes it all back down to F sharp minor. And that's it for this episode. Listen to Scriabin's third sonata if you get the chance live or a recording. Thanks for watching Sonata Secrets. The Patreon shoutout goes to I. Haynes and M. Carlin.